Turn to ban. Dire team ban.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another pro Dota commentary done by Luminous. This is Luminous, and I'm joined by B-Balling as we're casting for TPL4. This is game number 1 of a best-of-3 series between Mousesport and Fnatic.eu. Arguably two of the hottest team. Obviously, Team Liquid's doing quite well. Na'Vi, with the recent addition of new players, are doing quite well as well. And they took away a lot of power from Mousesport. But we do have Karaoke back here again. But before we get into some of the roster differences, B-Balling, how are you doing today?
I am doing quite well, and yeah, it's pretty interesting to see because Black and Fado seem to be missing in action for this game, and they're arguably two of the most talented players left on Mouse in their main roster. Not to say that Alex and Paz are not talented, they are insanely talented, but still, I imagine all this instability, even in these even in this match, could cause Mouse a little bit of communication issues, but still, Roki was the captain, and I'm sure he'll play quite fantastically. I don't think he's missed a beat.
Yeah, I mean, he's been with Na'Vi for a couple of days, but yeah, I mean, he's going to be playing with his old team. He's not drafting, though. There is a new player in the mix, not to mention that RMN is standing in, although I'm sure they played with RMN many, many times before. But the draft so far is Mousesport banning out both Wisp as well as Batrider, and Fnatic banning out Darkster and Nyx Assassin. Not too surprising to see that Keeper Elias snapped up immediately, as most European and North American teams would prefer that first pick over even heroes like Magnus and Lifestealer. But I love this Magnus and Lifestealer pick up here because Empower plus melee heroes such as Lifestealer, you will have an answer to a hero called Phantom Lancer. I'm talking about him already because I do expect him to be picked, especially when he's opened up with Keeper like this.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that Magnus does enable Lifestealer to do better than he could normally do is just flash farm a bit faster. Lifestealer not known to be the fastest farmer, but with Magnus on your side, you can just do some stacks for him, and then you just put Empower on him and just clear those stacks very, very easily, whether it be ancient stacks, small neutral camps. I mean, Magnus just makes everybody better in terms of that, but still, Fnatic, I'm sure they have watched the recent games. I'm sure that they know how powerful Keep the Light Phantom Lancer is, and Keep the Light in general is just a ridiculously powerful hero. And Phantom Lancer, he's usually only seen with Keep the Light, but when you manage to get them together, they're basically the Batman and Robin of Dota. They have all the utility in place, they can drag on the game, and once it goes in the late game, Lifestealer really does not have a chance against Phantom Lancer, no matter how much Empower buff he gets. And Fnatic going to choose very, very strong heroes in the form of Rubik, and that means the Magnus player, whoever it will have to be very careful on his positioning, otherwise Rubik will be able to easily snatch up the reverse polarity.
I mean, even if he's careful enough to save his RP, I think Rubik will still get it because all his other spells, or spells in general, just have a long casting animation. So Shockwave, Skewer, if you're on your toes, especially if you have a Blink Dagger, you'll be able to seal that spell. But more important for me right now is that Fnatic.eu has one of the more potent tri-lanes in the entire game. The range of this particular tri-lane is absolutely insane. Phantom Lancer obviously does not have a stun, but the range of his lance, as well as Keeper Light Illuminate, as well as Telekinesis and Fable, if whoever's on the other side is not careful enough, they will be giving up first blood as well as many, many kills down the stretch. Also, in terms of late game, we talked about Rubik's ability to steal big ultimates like RP, but he's, if you actually just pick up a Blink Dagger as a support, you could do quite a bit as well. Mousesport, they are completely and utterly prepared for Shadow Demon. I mean, Lifestealer getting Magnus in power, Gyrocopter getting Magnus in power. This is as much AoE and illusion killing as you can get.
Yeah,
picking a Medusa or something.
Yeah, I mean, Gyrocopter with the Empower on him and the Flat Can can easily clear the Phantom Lancer, and if you manage to get that Rapier, then you've seen Team Liquid versus Mouse. So we'll see if Fnatic can sort of avoid that situation, but still, I mean, there comes a certain point where Gyrocopter can't really keep up with Phantom Lancer. Phantom Lancer just farms so insanely fast with the split pushing going on, and Phantom Lancer does tend to max out a lot faster, especially with Keep Light. I do not see a current way for Mouse to actually push into the base, as that is going to be very, very difficult ground to break unless Magnus gets a huge reverse polarity. But we're going to see Fnatic ban out a lot of secondary supports, seeing that Mouse does not actually have any supports whatsoever. So Mouse playing a bit greedy with their lineup, so far it's pretty easy to predict where their lanes are going. Gyrocopter mid solo, Lifestealer safe lane, and Magnus off lane. And as it is, Fnatic should have a lot of openings on how to exploit this.
I mean, again, there's definitely variations of how these lanings could go. Gyrocopter could be on an offensive trial lane. You could definitely put the Magnus mid and off lane, the Lifestealer. I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but IG and LGD was doing it, of course, during the G League finals. So depending how these players feel about these lanes, as well as whether they have practiced it, it is definitely possible. But like B-Bong said, the most likely thing is Gyro mid or Magnus off lane. Again, Magnus off lane, I'm personally not a big fan of. I feel like because of the skewer range nerf that he was, suffering from for a couple of months now, I just don't think he could handle the lane, especially not a powerful one like Phantom Lancer, Keeper of Light, and Rubik.
Well, it's a bit easier for him on the Radiant side because he can shockwave, he can pull the dire neutrals in, and he can skewer over the cliff. But yeah, it's definitely not going to be a walk in the park by any measure. But Gyrocopter, he's strong mid, but there are other stronger mids left in the pool, but Mousesport smartly banning out one of them. But Puck is still left in the pool, and I think Puck does do quite well against Gyrocopter. Of course, Flathead can push him on the lane, but Fnatic can choose Beastmaster. I know this is a favor of Hani, as he gets fast boots of travel, gets fast whatever he wants, and just goes on an absolute rampage. And if there's ever a counter Lifestealer, it's a Beastmaster with the ward just piercing through that rage. 4 seconds, draining all but 2 seconds of that rage timer, just allows Phantom to go to work on that Lifestealer, and that's going to be pretty difficult to deal with. And also, if you manage to get the Aghanims upgrade, if you manage to destroy something like the Magnus, there goes your team fight right off the window.
Yeah, I mean, the choice of Roaring Gyrocopter as well is not bad, because we definitely see multiple teams just stacking him with damage items, damage item, damage items. So if you could bring him out of team fight for a couple seconds and focus him down, that's not a bad way to deal about it either. Also, I want to feel like, you talked about the Beastmaster getting the Breach of Travel as an item. Well, I'm not sure if we're going to see it this game, but if we are...
All I know is because Hani really loved Boots of Travel on every hero.
He does. He's really like the Merlini of the pro games, if you will, getting Breach of Travel on just about everybody. But it really fits her playing style, which is one thing I want to get into. I feel like Fnatic, in terms of individual skills, I definitely would not rank them top, the top team in terms of individual skills. But the reason they've been doing so well lately is because they've been working out cohesively as a unit. And one thing they love to do is split pushing all over the map. Breach of Travel helps greatly in that. Having Recall and Keeper of Light helps in that. Phantom Lancer, depending on his particular build, the fact that he can send illusions in lane when you're farming in the jungle, that helps so much in terms of split pushing as well. So it's very important for Gyrocopter, for Mousesport, and particularly Gyrocopter, to get the correct items and get the correct heroes to make sure they could deal with split push. Because when Phantom Lancer is stacked enough and he's solo pushing you, you gotta have an answer. Jakiro could do it. He's got double AoE. Gyrocopter could do it. And looks like we're going to see Weaver as the final pick here for Fnatic.
It's pretty standard off lane for Fnatic. Actually, if you've ever seen the recent Fnatic Team Liquid series, one of the many, Trixie did play a really bad Weaver in one of the games, not gonna lie, but I'm sure that was just an off day, as he usually plays a very, very solid off-lane Weaver. And the killing try on the side of Mouse, I mean, Lifestealer does get hard countered by Weaver for the most part in terms of engagements, and also in terms of killing, because Open Wounds doesn't really do anything against Shikuchi, and by doesn't really do anything, I mean doesn't do anything at all for the most part. And Jakiro is an interesting choice here. I feel like this is just sort of help obliterate Fnatic in the team fights, but I'm not too sure about his role. I think something like a Disruptor would be a bit more suited for Mouse here. But Jakiro, he feels very bulky, out of place, not really that mobile, and I think Thanos can just eat him for breakfast. But I guess he does provide him with a bit more base defense, because Ice Path is just really, really strong in that regard. But I don't know, it just seems to me Jakiro seems a little bit out of place here.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. One thing that I do like Jakiro about this, in terms of his addition to the lineup, is that it gives him the range. Ice Path, as slow as the hero is, it does give you, 800 to 1,000 initiation. The casting animation of that spell is a little bit awkward, but again, it really allows you to walk in with Lifestealer to open wounds. It really allows Magnus to skewer. So far, without a Blink Dagger on Magnus, this team is very short range. Gyrocopter, of course, Flat Cannon is 1,000 range, or is it 1,000, 1,200? Something ridiculous.
It's 1,000.
Okay. We don't need more range on that Flat Cannon, but it looks like they're going to end it up with Enchantress being picked up. Again, how do you deal with the counter push? How do you deal, or split push is my question to Mousesport. Weaver, as we know, matches up very well against Lifestealer, not so much against Gyrocopter because of his burst damage. But with that said, let's quickly introduce the players and the teams.
Yeah, it looks like Kuroki is going to be handling that Enchantress. Alex is going to be handling Jakiro. QOJ, not too sure how to pronounce that, is handling the gyrocopter. And just an interesting fact note, it's pretty much all but confirmed that Kyojay is going to be the official stand-in or official replacement for Kuroki. RMN is going to be handling the Leicester, taking Black's role in this game, and Pass is going to be handling the Magnus. And just want to comment on something else. They're going to have to push really early on because Jakiro by himself cannot keep Weaver out of the lane, so Era will have a lot of free farm in this lane as it is. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Kuroki just to get the push going ASAP because, I mean, the Weaver player, Era, will just have really no difficult times in terms of getting experience.
Yeah, so far from this particular draft, we see nothing of a hardcore lockdown against the Weaver. Again, there's the Ice Path, but, you know, level 1 Ice Path, nothing you could shrug at. So I think the best thing that the Radiant could hope for is getting a very good smoke gank off a creep from Enchantress, whether it's a Dark Troll Warlord creep or a Centaur microing for a good stomp. Aside from that, they are going to have a tough time killing our Weaver. Era, though, by the way, I'm not sure if they're going to be swapping. They might. They will be playing the Weaver. Trixie so far is have the Phantom Lancer. Generally, they have the two swap. Fly going to be playing the Keeper of Light. We have Hani going mid, most likely with the Beastmaster, and Notel playing the Rubik.
Yeah, most likely they're in a swap because Weaver is usually handled by Trixie, but I don't know. Against that Team Liquid game, they just might be like, Trixie, you kind of cost us the game. They're not going to let you play Weaver ever again. But I really doubt that that's going to be the case here. As Hani, setting up for the fastball, not being pulled anything. Beastmaster, usually one of those heroes who does not really need to be pulled. As he's a melee hero, he has a lot of base HP, does not really rely on his damage. And even if he does, he has pretty solid damage with the axes coming in, so Hani not going to be pulled any items. And we'll see if the Weaver player is going to be pulled any items, just getting some wards on his hand, and it looks like Era is going to be handling the Weaver, so that's interesting to see.
Yeah, I have not seen Era on the offlane. Let's see how well he's going to be playing that one. I'm sure he can play it well. PS is going to be going to bot lane here. Stout Shield being picked up. Seems like we might see a little bit of offensive tri lane. Maybe they actually said, well, we know you guys are going to be offensive tri lane, so we're going to put Era basically free farming on the bot against the Magnus. Again, it will take a couple of time to develop how this lane go. The thing is, it's very questioning for this lane to go offensive tri lane. Yeah, you could do it because there's Enchantress coming out of jungle, but with that said, you're also very constantly afraid of a gank. And seems like Trix is going to be left alone on the top. Are they expecting a solo?
Well, maybe they figure since Jakiro's not the best offensive tri-lane hero, I mean, he's solid because of the stun, and maybe they figure that as long as they control the jungle, Kuroki won't be able to get too much accomplished, and actually Trixie just staying in the woods for now. Do you know if this ward actually blocks off this big camp?
Which ward are you talking about? Oh, the one right next to Trixie?
Yep.
Yeah, I imagine it does, but looks like Fly's in a little bit of trouble. Ice Path and a lot of right click going right onto the terms of Fly. Fly not going to make it out alive. Really the question is who's going to get the last blood, and Alex did, which is not exactly the worst thing in the world. As you can see, immediately courier upgrade, which is a good sign to see for your support players. But it's going to be offensive trialing here, especially with getting them the first kill like that. And of course, Kuroki will be dominating over jungle. I guess one good thing about offensive tri-laning is that you know the enemy team will very unlikely ward off their own jungle. So you always have, a fresh batch of creeps. Unless this one warding off their jungle. And it looks like it did. Yeah, to answer your question, this one does ward off your own jungle.
Yeah, Kuroki gonna have to venture very, very deep into enemy territory in order to have a reliable, strong creep, as they actually warded off the pole spot. So Kuroki might be forced to defensive jungle, or at least put himself in a lot of risk. But as his Enchantress level 1, pretty strong. Rubik won't really have the chance to kill her once she does get a creep, but Mudgolem's fucking it off. This is just not Kuroki's game thus far, and Notel gonna block off the big camp. It's clever play by Notel, and Kuroki's just completely left in the dark as far as the creeps are concerned.
Well, Hani's got to be very careful in the mid lane because Enchant's still a very powerful ability. Hani reacting it perfectly, walking down south, down the river. Gonna find himself a regen rune. I'm sure they scout this one out. Yeah, they had an observer there at the same time, so Hani just really getting all of the benefits here. In terms of skill build, he's gonna be going for the Inner Beast, which will help his allies attack faster, and more importantly, to push that creep wave towards the side of Gyrocopter, which I don't think Gyrocopter minds too much because he could easily push out with Flat Cannon. But it's going to be a big thing in terms of securing the runes in the river.
Yeah, and the question is when Notel will actually decide to help out this Tron, because as it is dual lane, Alex will just get bursted. Of course, he has a lot of damage on his side, and RMN will have, not skilling rate just yet, we'll probably get it at level 3, so he'll have some magic immunity on his side. But still, like you mentioned previously, the burst damage coming in from Fly, from Trixie, is just going to be immense, especially coupled with the Fade Bolt, which Notel does not yet have access into, is just going to be very, very difficult to deal with. But actually, you're going to see Kuroki smoke up with a very lame creep,
It doesn't do anything.
The Wild Wing Ripper.
It doesn't actually do anything. You don't even need to learn the name. It's not even worth it. But looks like they're going to try to circle around. These guys are walking on top of an observer ward, and that's why the support on the dire side is not likely to get caught. As I say that, though, N0tail perhaps a little bit out of position. He does telekinesis back, but Ice Path is going to be landing for sure. There's an Ice Path Shockwave, and N0tail should not have gotten caught there. Another kill going to Alex. That's going to be a quick boost of speed. And giving your supports boost of speed like that when the enemy support does not have it, that's a huge disparity in terms of killing power.
One more parting shot from the Illuminate ushers RMN and Alex away, but they're just going to be more than happy to harass the Phantom Lancer away. As Phantom Lancer taking this time 12 CS and Weaver 12 CS as well, as Magnus having a really difficult time. Really can't do too much until he gets a bottle. As you can see, the bottle should be fair to him. Yes, it is, but as it is, Weaver just doing a very solid job. I mean, Magnus 11 CS, not really having the worst of times, but Weaver should have a solid grasp in this lane nonetheless. Meanwhile, mid lane, Hani just going to bottle code up, and he has the rune control on his side as well, as Gyrocopter has a double damage rune, so that's going to be very good in terms of harassing Hani back, but still, Balco just pretty much negates as Kuroki caught in the middle of no man's land. What are you doing
Well,
there?
it looks like we're
going
going to see even a teleportation sword coming in. N0tail's going to pick him up, toss him back towards the tower. There's a tower shot, and Kuroki going to get picked off. Now, he was cut off basically from every path. So he was going to die eventually, but it forced out teleport scroll from N0tail. Also forced Fly from chasing him around.
N0tail, not died.
No, oh. Just cast a N0tail game, so sorry on that. But yeah, the double damage on Gyrocopter basically means he's going to win the lane for the next 2 minutes, as Beastmaster can't even show himself. Because as soon as he does, here we go, a little bit of spells driving off. And if he wants to stay and fight, obviously the double damage will easily clean him up. So Hani losing the lane quite badly here, considering double damage rune is going to be saving the bottle until KOJ needs to use it. There you go, pops it. Beastmaster could only look with envy inside, and it looks like there's going to be a rune up on the top lane, and Rocket Barrage could be doing a significant amount of damage. With that said, though, those two, illusion could be just popped out and tank most of the barrage.
Actually, you're going to see a rotation by Alex. No, he thinks better of it, realizes that Hani will be okay, has a full bottle on his hands. And meanwhile, Gyrocopter just going to stay in lane. The double damage rune will wear out in a little bit, as I say that, Hani going to take a little bit more pot shots from the Gyrocopter driving away, saying, "You do not belong here," as Hani being driven back all the way to his tier 1 tower. Luckily for him, he does have a full bottle, and Gyrocopter does not, so Hani does still have access into this lane. And actually, Hani, 12 CS, not the worst CS. Gyrocopter 21 is a bit of a problem, but as I say that, Kroki comes in, here comes the net. Vissel is going to fly in very shortly, forcing out a TP by the side of Fnatic. No, they're going to cancel it, realizing that Hani's okay, but still 135 gold down the drain for that.
I just want to point out that we are only 5 minutes in the game, and we see 2 teleportation square going on the mid lane. Just, again, want to reiterate, the Dire, I mean, they're not exactly known for their individual skill, but so good in terms of teamwork. These TPs are very costly, 135 gold on support this early in the game. That's hard to come by, but making sure that the Beastmaster is not getting killed. QOJ, though, he is leading in terms of level, out denying Hani in the mid lane. You gotta keep in mind, that was with a kill on Kuroki earlier on, so yeah, Hani having a very tough time.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, Phantom Lancer, for the most part, was protected, and the supports were pulling. As I say that, there is going to be a smoke attempt on the middle lane, trying to catch out the Gyrocopter, but Gyrocopter is just going to take this time, farm the small camp. But Phantom Lancer is actually heavily outfiring the Lifesteal at this stage, which is never really something you want to have happen. But Trixie going to have to be careful, no mana whatsoever, so if he gets caught, he will most likely die, because he does not have any backup whatsoever. But it doesn't seem that Mouz is too keen on that, because the supports were smoked up. But now that they do see the supports roam away, I expect a bit more pressure. No, it's just going to force Alex to rotate in. I'm not too sure about this maneuver by Alex.
Yeah, maybe he's afraid of the mid tower getting a little bit pushed, but he is going to get some EXP. Oh, he should have ran into XP range and at least got the 2 XP on the creep.
Well, Hani has Roar, so that might have made him think better of it. As I say that, Weaver is going to get caught out. The Centaurs and the RP was expended, well worth it at this stage in the game. As Weaver 29 CS, Magnus able to pick up a kill, can work towards his Arcane Boots and just be able to get the team fight going that much quicker for his team.
Hani getting a little bit driven back here by the rocket, and again, Alex should be careful. Yeah, I did not recognize that Hani was turning level 6 then, which made a whole world of difference in terms of where you should be as a support. So with that, I guess that's a rotation. That's why he rotated mid, to make sure that the Gyrocopter does not get picked off, because a single roar and a couple of right clicks with another support hero, that would have been an easy kill. There's a Beastmaster roar, Illuminate channel a little bit too slow. There's an Ice Path trying to help out, and look at that. The Ice Path is going to be enough to save him. Hani, and Centaur being tossed, call down. It's going to, no, it's not going to hit. and that should be it. Alex will have Ice Path in just a couple of seconds. We'll be dropping it. I really don't think he should chase up the hill like that. So, yes, good rotation here from both the supports on both teams, making sure their solo mids are not dying.
Yeah, unfortunately for Alex, I think the ward just did break off, but he realized that that chase would have been fruitless. But as it is, I'm a bit concerned because very little attention is being paid to Trixie, and he's starting to get his core up, and once he gets a core up, then he can start building towards the big boy items like Diffusal Blade, like drums, or I don't know, he might even choose to skip drums in this game. But as it is, the fact that they're not paying attention whatsoever is a little bit concerning for me, and Lifestealer is being essentially doubled up in terms of CS.
Yeah, I mean, Lifestealer definitely needs a little bit of help, but again, Lifestealer is one of those heroes you could get a lot of damage. You could get a lot of damage in without too many damaging items. Just give him phase drums, and he should be fine. But looks like we're going to see a Treads armlet build in this particular game. With that said, I'm not sure about his skill build. He's actually maxing Feast, and generally you want to max Rage in a kind of almost all pro games because that Rage gives you 6 seconds.
Middle lane, QOJ being caught up, just taking a bit of harassment, but that's it. The regen rune is successfully defended by the supports of Fnatic as Hani. Thanking his supports, like you said, that teamwork on the side of Fnatic, so crucial to their success.
Yep, I just want to hate on this lack of Rage build for a little bit more. Rage on that build because you really need Rage against a team like this. But Skewer going to mid lane here, and that's a 2-man RP Ice Path to follow up, and Mousesport's gonna clean these two up. Gyrocopter gets a double kill. That's not the person you want the double kill to be on, especially on a mid lane Gyro who doesn't actually have that much farm. Just enchant going on Hani, and Ice Path is going to follow up Hani a little bit out of position. He does roar on Kuroki, and that will push the Toonhead Dragon aside. Rocket's going to fly in against Hani. It looks like we have no tail teleporting in as well. Kuroki should be able to run out of that Fable range. So very, very lucky break. As I say that here, QOJ getting tossed back. Do they have a little bit more nukes? Huge Illuminate. Is that going to hit? Yes, it will! And one more right click. Did it miss uphill? I think it did. Wow. Wow.
Teleporting from right underneath Fnatic's noses. They are going to be absolutely furious. I'm sure Notail is just cursing his luck as Paz getting driven away by the Phantom. Trixie is starting to become too much for a solo hero to handle, but you saw the power. You saw sort of why Mouse picked up the Jakiro pretty much just on the back of the Magnus, because once you get that combination going, there's pretty much no hero that can handle that once the full spell damage has been channeled.
Yeah, I mean, again, we also have forgotten how good Gyrocopter, or not Gyro, Jakiro actually was, man. He was picked as the core support, first pick support for at least 1 or 2 months ago, and again, showing off why Ice Path is such a great spell. Dual Breath, a decent nuke, very, very respectable nuke. But one thing we really need to point out is Kuroki's skill build, just taking a chance, opting for stats instead of his heals. Not something we see too often. I guess he's just really saying that if I'm gonna get hit, I'm probably gonna die against all of these.
Actually, we see, sorry to cut you off, but I've seen Puppy do this quite a bit. He's just says screw heal.
Recently?
Yeah, he's done this decent amount. Like, he gets 1 point to heal, but he doesn't max it. He just gets, you know, a couple points in chat and then just gets a lot of stats, saying, I know, with the burst damage, then the heal probably won't help you too much.
I gotta agree.
Just have the burst HP.
I mean, the recent trend of how players are picking their heroes as well as you know, skilling their skills seems like burst damage all the hype with Gyrocopter getting a rocket barrage obviously, and of course open wounds with Lifestealer just kills you so quickly. The extra, you know, what, 70 HP healing per second or whatever the value end up to be, not good enough. So Kuroki opting for stats, and he's in a very respectable 625. Of course, you could opt to switch to Power Tread Strength if you need more strength. And it looks like they do have Isolate, found the Phantom Lancer. Do they have Detection? That's a question. Because there's no reason to do this gank if there's not. Enchantress has 1 Sentry Ward. They gotta be very, very overzealous, I think, to expect they could get
They're
this
gonna have to
gank.
commit a lot to this as Trixie senses something up, seeing that there are no supports on the map thus far, and that is gonna be Notail gonna poke his head out. He is gonna dodge the Ice Path as Jakiro that turn rate. Very, very bad for this twin-headed dragon. As meanwhile, RMN taking a bit more harass in Lifestealer, only 40 CS, 11 absence in the game. Again, one of those cases who doesn't need the best farm, but still, he'd like to have farm. He becomes more effective with farm. And really just not having an easy go of it at this stage, as Hani just waiting the woodworks and boots of travel.
Hani and his boots of travel. Well, that will allow him to, you know, teleport to a different lane and help out when they're getting ganked. Send Hawk in the jungle to see where that Lifestealer. They have found him. I don't think they can actually kill him though. He's fairly tanky. He's at 2 points rage, but more importantly, has that infest, so he could always get into a creep and get a lot of HP. Back on the top lane, they're diving the hell out of Trixie. Trixie is just gonna TP out. I feel like Mousesport just utilizing way too much time, but here comes Era. He does, well, Sakuchi and right click. Huge Illuminate damage. RP only catches Fly. They gotta kill Fly. A 1-for-1 trade so far, but looks like PS gonna try to TP out, and he's gonna make it out alive. Not exactly the best trade for the Radiant team, especially if Hani could get that Beastmaster roll off. Oh, Kuroki trying to juke, trying to worst of Roy. He doesn't want to use just yet. A single access should be able to clean it up. There you go. Stats, not enough to help him survive that one, but you know, very little.
I don't think heal would have helped him that much either, especially at this level, where he'd be level 2 heal. So, I mean, that definitely would have saved him. But meanwhile, QOJ doing a nice job split pushing, he's a flat can and a double damage rune. He is well on his way to his whatever aim sets go for, whether it be Shadow Blade or something like a drums, anything like that, even a Yasha, as he is getting very far very quickly. But still, behind the Fnatic and even the Weaver, which is a bit concerning because the double carry on Fnatic is just so strong in the late stages of the game that you pretty much, if you're a Mouse and it comes to late game, you're pretty much all in on the Magnus getting a really strong RP.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, Blink Dagger will be very helpful, but it just feels like there's so many high priority targets on the Dire side. You want to, of course, catch the Weaver. You want to catch the PL. Those are the two most dangerous carry heroes on the Dire side. But on the same token, if you don't catch some of these squishy supports, the Rubik will take your ultimate. You don't want that. The Beastmaster Roar, not only does it stun the target, it pushes everybody aside, applying a very respectable slow on top. So I feel like Pass just... There's a lot on his shoulder, and I'm wondering if he lifts that well.
Yo, he's got to be working out them. He's got to be in the gym every day just to carry these guys. But still, I mean, it's very early on in the game, and so far Mouse has a nice kill advantage. I mean, it doesn't mean that much. Phantom Hunter is yet to pick up anything too significant. Picking up the two blades while actually not going for the drums at this stage. He wants to get a split push going ASAP, which I fully understand. And it might just very well be a tower trade, as we're going to see a teleport in by Hani on the bottom lane, but they are going to sacrifice the top tower. In terms of mag control, a bomb tower is a lot more significant.
I mean, yeah, sure, you can teleport to the Roshan, but both these towers are so far away from anything that's relevant. I don't think it matters too much. It is somewhat difficult for the Radiant to push up top continuously, though, so not the biggest deal. But looks like they're going to defend this. Magnus already in position here. They want to focus on Hani. Hani may have that Breacher Trap, but he's not running there fast enough. Big Illuminate is going to weaken a lot of these guys. But speaking about trades, not only are they not going to get the trade off, tower's going to get denied, so a huge win here for Mousesport.
Most definitely, as QOJ going to be driven away, but still at this stage, Gyrocopter is very powerful against Mounts because the Rocket Barrage still easily cleans up those illusions. And Jakiro with that deny, like you mentioned, and I guess Mouse with the RP, they sense a little bit of blood in the water and they want to pounce on this opportunity, but still, Fnatic, one of those teams not easily shaken, as here comes Illuminate. Keeper Light just doing what Keeper Light does best, but still, no, he's level 6, so he's a respectable level of Illuminate. Level 3, definitely nothing to sneeze at, as Armand should be enough to clean out his tower, and doesn't seem that Fnatic defense Ice Path is going to fly in. Does not end, I think Armand's HP is drained quite a bit, but Mouse essentially picking up 2 towers without too much of a fight.
Yeah, and it looks like Fnatic wasn't even able to punish them for it. Generally, you know, at this point of the game, a Phantom Lancer will be able to start pushing down towers on his own. It looks like he's going to go for the Diffusal Blade and Ring of Aquila. Now, this is an item we haven't seen too much on Phantom Lancer, and I know Fnatic players love to build their heroes a little bit differently from most of the standard build, if you will. What do you feel about Ring of Aquila, especially the way that he's going to be going into a Diffusal Blade instead of a Yasha?
It gives him a lot of mana, and just considering he's put 2 points in Doppelwalk, mana is going to be very key, because there is going to be a point in the game where Mouse will just hunt him relentlessly. So he needs all the mana for the Doppelwalk, so it allows him to farm a bit faster to spare lengths with the split, or with the ability to take down creep plays very quickly. If it manages to get 1 or 2 splits, it's going to be incredibly useful, but as I say that, Leicester are going to get picked off. But yeah, I think Aquila is definitely a solid choice, and it gives you more damage than something like Soaring, and yeah, I think it's a pretty solid choice and gives you an extra push once you are able to start split pushing, which is definitely not something we underestimate.
Ooh, Kuroki gets earned to start off here. Era chasing with Sakuchi, a Gemini attack, and that should do it. But again, I mean, imagine him without the stats. These kills on Kuroki would just be a lot easier. But stats, again, not exactly too helpful in this stage of the game. Either Diffusal Blade is picked up. Yeah,
I think in that engagement, heal might have actually helped him.
Might have done something because of how long the chase is, but yeah, Sakuchi and a couple more right clicks should have finished the job regardless. Now, there's one thing that I do dislike about Ring of Aquila, is the fact that you have already a Keeper of Light on your team, so it feels like mana shouldn't be too much of an issue. Now, what you do get, aside from the nice damage and whatnot, is the +2 armor on your creep wave. Like we talked about, this is a very split pushing hero, and of course, your illusions will just give that your creep wave that aura as well. So you don't even have to be there for that plus armor aura for your creeps, and it's very, very good. It speeds up your push by quite a bit, actually.
Especially at this stage in the game where Cupula is really necessary or really needed to defend, and Fnatic just wants to be farming the jungle. Really does not intend to be anywhere near the Cupula. He does not want to be the defense, because if he's defending, that means he can't farm. So the little bit of extra passive mana boost definitely not going to be too neglected here, as he is just going to clear out jungle creeps already with around 120 last hits in 18 minutes. Pretty solid farm. And the question is, what are Mouse going to do? As Gyrocopter not picking up the Shadow Blade, just going to rush straight BKB, want to get the mid-game team fight, but KuroKy boots of travel onto the Hawk. Old school Beastmaster play at its best, as KuroKy going to get nuked down. And that is something I have not seen in a while, but that is clever as all heck.
Well, it looks like we do have a flat cannon being taken by Rubik, which is definitely not that impressive. He definitely was want something like an ice path. That Hawk, again, providing a lot of side telekinesis on the Twin Dragon, but a huge RP into a call down, and suddenly everybody's dead. Era's going to time-lapse a lot of HP back. Hani with the haste range going to try to chase people away, but here comes RNN. Hani's haste just ran out in the wrong nick of time, and Hani going to get picked up by a Shockwave as well. Era, he can be fine because he's at Sakuchi, and look at this goal. He's got 2750 in his bank. Also want to point out is that throughout all of that, Trixie not split pushing top.
No, I think he was farming the jungle, and then he just realized there's, oh crap, there's a giant team fight happening, and by that time, the creepy golem was already very pushed to his tower. So at this stage, only the Fusel, not really the best way to push, but now it's going to become very scary. Unless he's going to teleport in, going to have all his mana drained for the most part, unless he rages up, which he does do so successfully, but still, the Illusion Barrage a little bit too much for him to handle at this stage, and this is going to be a tower for Trixie, and he gets the last hit as well. Definitely very, very needed for Fnatic at this stage in the game, because even though Fanlance is farming decently, not too many other heroes on the side of Fnatic are, and they're definitely going to benefit from the tower gold.
Yeah, especially when QOJ get this huge creep wave, stack creep wave here. He's going to be very, very far off ahead. Already has the Blacking Bar finish, which, again, not too effective against heroes like Phantom Lancer, who doesn't give a damn about your BKB. I guess it helps with Diffusal play. But Gemini attack as well as Beastmaster Roar, yeah, I mean, BKB is a very necessary evo for him to have it to survive, but he doesn't. It's not going to help too much. Hani, Breach of Travel into a very deep enemy position, summons a Hawk to, of course, scouting for his prey, and with the Beastmaster Roar and Bottle, and of course, WoW Axis, he's going to be hunting for kills.
And actually, Fnatic going to take this time to get some Roshan advantage, as Ice Path is going to fly in, some dewarding going all over the map, but KuroKy definitely coming out ahead with the bear, as Alex is going to get sniped out. Ice Path Roar. Hani just moves so fast and can teleport in from so many different angles that it's really difficult for his support to be by himself, and he's going to pay the price for that. And it seems that Fnatic are going to take this Roshan without too much hesitation. Era, interesting enough, going to go for Reigns, I think, because he's saving up a lot of gold, and this is not usually something we see from Weaver too often, but if they get 2 heroes split pushing, then they can stall the game for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you don't imagine that Radiance is going to be a too common of item choice, because again, burst damage is what most teams care for, but looks like he hasn't bought anything just yet, even though he's right next to a secret shop. That Shockwave from the, oh, here comes a huge RP, but he gets stunned up by an Ice Path, I think, but looks like they are, oh no, they can't initiate properly, but RMN says, alright, I'm going to try to take this Aegis myself, and it looks like they will be able to do so. Again, they gotta respect the Blink RP, they cannot clump into the pit. It looks like Gyrocopter picked it up, Era walks in, Era's gotta be very, very careful. A little bit of pot shot damage on RNM, there's a lance on top of the shock, on top of the Magnix as well. Another Ice Path, they see QOJ, he's got the BKB, he pops it, Blink RP, that's on 3 on top. Where's the skewer back where he does for the second shot up the call down. Huge wombo combo coming out. They see KuroKy's low, but looks like Era, Trixie's being chased away. Trixie should be fine because of Yasha and Birchblade. You can actually come back and start dropping more lances, which he will do so on KuroKy. Can he get off the purge? Don't need a purge. Trixie just flirting with death. Beastmaster Roar goes on. The Axis kills the Lifestealer. PS is low. Aegis gets kills as well, and Era is going to get a couple more kills. Everybody is cleaning up QOJ, trying to fight his way out there, but not going to be able to do so. He's going to try to TP out, and I think he's going to make it out alive. Wow. Who won that team fight? Because there were so many kills exchanged back and forth.
It's gotta be Fnatic. It's no doubt, because Phantom Hunter did not die, and I don't know if Era actually died. That's the question. He might have. I don't think he did, and you can just see the chaos that Weaver manages in that team fight as he manages to just get so much accomplished during that. And actually, Era picks up a Desolator. That used to not work in Dota 1. I guess it works in Dota 2, as that is a lot of damage, but it doesn't really boost his HP, and it doesn't really help him split push. But I guess the minus armor against something like Lifestealer is just gonna be so important, and it also synergizes quite well with the Storm, and of course Era, one of those guys who does not really care about what item he gets, he just likes getting that pretty stuff.
For anybody that's wondering, it does not work with Gemini attack because, well, your second shot of Gemini attack is an orb effect. It will not shoot out an effect, but it doesn't matter for Desolator because you only need one application of the -6 armor anyways. So for the matter of fact is, yes, it does work. Now, if for those of you guys that are scratching your head and never seen a Desolator on Weaver, I'm not either, but it makes a lot of sense. We've even seen players going for things like Phase just to upgrade Weaver's damage output. This is the exact same application, the same idea. If you have Gemini attack, getting a raw damaging increase item like that will just make you an insane beast. Obviously, you gotta keep in mind that Desolator also applies a debuff before your attack even hits. So you're shooting in plus 120 damage, basically, because you have Gemini attack, and a lot of minus armor to work with. It don't matter if you're Gyrocopter, it don't matter if you're Twin Head Dragon or Jakiro or Enchantress, you're in big trouble when that Weaver wants to focus on you. This is insane. I've never seen this before.
Yo, Era does not care. But just want to point out a crucial item that was just picked up just 30 seconds ago. It's a gem on the Magnus, as they figured that we let Phantom Hunter and Weaver run too much. And the question is this a little bit too late? As they've already become quite powerful. Phantom Hunter already has Yasha working his way towards the mana style. I mean, better late than never, but still, Pass with this gem. They're going to have to make a lot of things happen with it very soon. Otherwise, Phantom Hunter and Weaver are just going to become too difficult to deal with, especially with Roar coming in at a moment's notice. If somebody goes back to defend, Hani will just be there to roar whoever defends, and it can just easily turn around. So, just again, Fnatic's item choices and decision making really putting the pressure, especially on Pass, who really needs to maximize every reverse play, which he has been doing. But still, for some reason, because of them not being able to catch up the Weaver or the Phantom Hunter, these team fights a bit more even than these reverse players would suggest otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, the RPs are just perfect. They look so good. And you gotta keep in mind that the dire side don't even have a mech or pipe to do, combat a lot of the damage. And if you look at the skill levels of the Radiant team, they have Call Down level 2, they have Ice Path, they have Macro Power on top. I'm not sure how these guys are surviving as long as they are. So, now Fnatic, because they had the advantage to keep going into the enemy jungle, if they don't find anybody gank off, they're going to just back off or farm the enemy jungle as you want to be doing. But for now, they're playing rather well, as you see. Is that
the Hawk? The Hawk! It sees everything.
The Hawk does have quite a bit of vision.
Oh, just a casual spare line saying, we see everything. We're just going to leave you with that parting gift. As Mio on the top lane, Gyrocopter being driven away single-handed by the Weaver, and Gyrocopter suddenly realizes, I can't actually deal with that. As you can see, once the gem attack does come up, the second attack does proc. But yeah, it was basically like you explained earlier. As Mio, the bomb tower getting pressure, it's almost at half HP, and suddenly split push looking very scary, because again, the Hawk pressure means that you pretty much have to defend at least with 3. And yeah, just again, Hani with the Boots Shovel always makes sense when you see it in action.
Yeah, I mean, he plays it to his strength, right? The global ganking ability. And you gotta keep in mind his supports are also playing rather well, because wherever Hani's going to be teleporting to, his 2 supports are basically already waiting for them. That's exactly what we saw out of that mid teleporting to your Hawk gank. That's got, again, a very kind of flashy move, and good to see him bring it out. KOJ catching up in terms of farm, going to be working towards a Manta style after this. And Manta style would be sort of helpful against, making sure that you have the extra HP, attack faster, just give you small boost to everything. The illusions, I don't imagine will survive for too long because of the Illuminate and Fable, though.
Definitely not. And, in most cases, Manta style would be good. But in this case, where there's nothing like a Orchid to dispel or anything like that,
it feels like very underwhelming,
Yeah, it's just a Manta style, just because you can say, oh, it's core on Gyro. Right. It's really good on Gyro. But you already have 9 seconds on BKB, and Manta is really good because not only does it give you a lot of offensive power, but it gives you a defensive mechanism that other items do not give you. But in this game, what would he sort of Manta out of?
Yeah.
Nothing. actually, except for
Mana leak?
Beastmaster slow.
Maybe Purge, maybe. Yeah, it just. I mean, honestly, I felt like if this is a game, you go Shadowblade BKB, right? Not BKB into Manta. Obviously, this is a little bit more late game warranted, if you will, because you know, for any other damaging item you get later on, your illusions have the possibility again. Possibility, I say, because there's Illuminate, there's Fable, there's Wild Axis, of doing more AoE damage, because, you know, let's say if you pick up a Butterfly, you know, suddenly your illusions are quite respectable. But right now, I almost called him Navi because I saw Kuroki's tag. Mousesport, charging down the mid lane to do a little bit of damage towards that tier 2, or at least look towards it. And again, they have that RP past my camera's on you, you've been playing so well. The Nyx is infested inside, and that bomb is about to come in.
Yeah, but unfortunately QOJ getting so much damage and no mecha up on the side of the Radiant, and how are they going to push into Coddle with this? They pretty much just have to hope that Coddle mispositions himself, which is never really an option against a good Coddle player. So
Yep.
Fly definitely not going to make that mistake here. And meanwhile, all the while, Era just going to provide a bit of pressure on top, and Hani going to provide a bit of pressure on bottom. So just really, it's a bad situation for Mouse to be in, but they don't really have too many other options until... They don't really have too many other options.
Period.
Like,
Not
what are they
until.
supposed to do?
Period. They don't have options until perhaps the Divine Rapier is picked up on Gyrocopter, which could be the case. I mean, BKB Manta into Divine is definitely a thing. It looks like Hani teleporting to his Hawk again, no? Or was he? I think he teleported into the Hawk and then resummoned a new Hawk.
And then he resummoned it.
Man, this is so ninja.
Dude, old school Dota players like Merlini and Hani, who are really, really known for making these flashy plays. It's just so cool to watch. As Kuroki forced to pop the heal, level 2 heal, not really doing too much, but Hani just waiting in the woodwork as Kuroki does not spy anything with his little eye. Gonna force a Gyrocopter TP up top, but there are 4 heroes of Fnatic mid, and meanwhile Hani is just waiting in the wings. Weaver is gonna get picked off because of the RP, but that means RP will not be online for the next T5. Weaver's gonna buy back, and this is a Q for Fnatic just pushing. They're saying, these RPs are what's keeping you in the game. Without it, what are you going to do? Our-Man's going to get lifted back up in the air. Fly might take a bit of open wound stage. No, Hani is going to get the roar off onto Our-Man. Going to rage up and just teleport out of there, knowing that he cannot run. Barely escapes by the skin of his teeth. And there goes the pause.
Wow. Now, my camera was focusing on the Beastmaster the whole time because I guess that's where the action happened. But RP was dropped. It was not seen on camera. And like B-Balling said, that was a cue to go. And the fight is not over yet because sure, Lifestealer is back in base healing up, but they're down here for 24 seconds. Granted, it's just Enchantress. She even has a drum, so it's a pretty big loss. And the time that Lifestealer is spent healing up as well as walking back to the tier 2, that could be enough time here for Fnatic to destroy that tower.
Yeah, and also
very low
cooldown
mana.
was used. Forgot to mention in that Weaver gank, they use cooldown.
Well, cooldown has a naturally very low cooldown, and it looks like it's already back up in just a couple of seconds. But yeah, more importantly, with RP down, with Alex out of mana, I do believe this is going to be another tower for Fnatic.
It should be, especially the Desolator giving that minus armor debuff. The Glyph is down, and meanwhile, Fnatic looks like they're mostly at full HP. Hani lacking a bit of mana, but easily able to be fueled up. Trixie lacking a bit of mana as well, but still, not too much resistance should be met by this tower, as again, without Alex on the defense, it's just not looking good. QOJ is just going to have to get splash everything in order to really help defend this tower.
Which he really can, because, well, he's going to try. He's going to try. Trixie, Illusion leading the way. There's a Lance. That's going to be enough to drive QOJ back. Hani, Axis, weakening the creep with Fable on top. Well, tier 2 just goes down so easily. It looks like they want Alex. Ice Path after nerf, but huge skewer. That's going to find Trixie, but is that the hero you want to find? Open wounds on top. There's no detection from support, but looks like the Infest Bomb out on the pig. They're going to get the kill. Wow, nicely played here. It looks like RMM is going to be looking for a little bit more. Ooh, no tail. Just barely making out there.
Very scary, but overall very beneficial for Fnatic. They did not, well, they lost the Phantoms, but Weaver survived, and that's the problem against the dual carries. And they got 2 towers, so they're definitely not too displeased. Beastmaster going to probably make his way towards his heart, and once he gets that, the Illusions can actually take a lot, and Gyro coming to the staging game definitely cannot clear them. As Man's style, it's good in terms of surviving, but won't really help you clear the Illusions. And once that split push arm gets going, then again, I keep reiterating it, but we've seen it time and time again. Hani will just teleport and ninja your ass.
And not only will he be doing that, he will be doing with an Axe Scepter Beastmaster instead, which, by the way, gives your range of your roar insane amount of range. I mean, first of all, you never know where Hani's coming from, so that helps. Secondly, when he has Acceptor, you could be on the other side of the team fight and he will find you. Not to mention, these team fights are lasting long enough where the roar might be cooled down a second time.
Especially if Lifesteal dies and buys back,
sure,
then you'll just run into another roar.
Yeah.
It's just a very, very bad situation. Of course, I mean, Mouse are going to have to make every RP count. I think in this game, you have to rush the refresher. Just skip EKB, which you see sometimes really, really powerful Magnuses do. But here comes the teleport in by Hani, as he is going to spy the Magnus, but is going to blink out in the nick of time, as Pasta not scared of that, or obviously was scared of that, so he could blink away. But still, Fnatic getting a lot of map control, and Roshan is going to spawn relatively soon. And I don't know if the raid can actually contest this. Magnus, definitely the king of Roshan in this game. But still, map control is so heavily in the favor of Fnatic that I don't imagine they'll try to go for it unless they know for sure they can take it.
Man. Beastmaster, Butcher Travel. I'm going to have to add this to my guide. Looks like the Hawk might have actually scoped out a smoke coming their way. Looks like it might not be. But they are going to run past this particular Sentry Ward. And if Hani's paying attention, which he should be because he's right there. Yep, looks like smoke is going to get broken out to take down this one. And that should be obvious for the Dire team to go back. Here's the thing though about the Dire team. They have all the split pushing time in the world. Recall gives you that ability when you have very survivable heroes like Phantom Lancer with the Mantis style finish. When you have Kuchi and Time Lapse, you're absolutely fine farming very far away from your team. Because you know Hani, not too far away from a Butcher Travel.
And I always get a little bit excited when I see Demon Edge in the Gyrocopter, but this might be a bit too early to commit to an all for nothing or all or nothing situation. But still, Demon Edge means MKB, means Daedalus, a lot of different options. But yeah, there's still opportunities for Mouse to get in. They just gotta really rely on the Magnetar and hope that Gyrocopter can splash everything. But it's just they're getting pressured by so many different angles. That's why we're being so negative. But there's still definitely mechanisms in place where they can win a team fight and hopefully take down a tier 2 at the very least. But still, I don't know, Kato is just too annoying with that.
Yeah, especially in Roshan engagement. Blinding Light, Illuminate, he's charging one up right now, and that's going to do a decent amount of damage on these two. Open wounds being used here, Chuts to gain a little bit of HP back, but that's giving Trixie and his team a lot of time to set up. Here we go, Illusion Lance coming in, RMM down to about half HP. Of course, he has Arm, pops at Enrage right now, and there's a Beastmaster Roar out of nowhere against RMM. RMM's gonna go down. No, he infests into QOJ, should be fine for now. Trixie losing a lot of HP. RP up on the whole team. And everybody said Arrow's on the run, but he's by himself. Buyback here from Trixie, but that should be enough time here for the Radiant team to go into Roshan Pit and finish them off. As I say that though, Trixie's back. Arrow will time-lapse out of there. But again, is this the Roshan here for Mouse? They've been doing this for the longest time. They're going to try it one more time. RNM is so low. If he gets bashed a couple of times, he could actually go down. I do believe the Dire team will just give it up. They realize they can't do it sustained, and they're going to try to do some damage on the mid, but the creep wave is not there, so Mousesport picks up Aegis for free.
Oh, Kuroki is going to get caught out. Trixie is forced to retreat as the gem is still up on the Magnetar. But let's just take a moment to admire how awesome that was by Paz. He was getting focused, he was getting barraged. You know, the illusions were targeting him. He was getting swarmed. I'm sure there's a boar on his ass. He just stay out there for, 3 seconds. Blink back in. RP. Everything's dead. That was magnificent play out of Paz. And the question is, can he keep this up? As there's only been sort of one quote-unquote sort of not that best RP, which is the solo gank on the Weaver, which arguably is worth it, but they did lose 2 towers. But as it is, he is playing out of his mind.
Yeah, and again, he needs to be playing out of his mind because it only takes 1 RP whiff for that PL to run all over you with the backup of his supports and Look, I'm absolutely thoroughly impressed with how Pass is playing right now. His RP is absolutely brilliant, but he's barely like achieving parity with the enemy team by landing those RPs. So I cannot imagine how the team fight will go if he ever misses one.
Yeah, that's not his fault. His team.
It's not his fault. Yeah, like I said, he's working out. He's working out so hard to lift his team. You need that broad shoulders.
Well, fortunately for him, his team is starting to pick up pretty solid damage out of his Maelstrom. And next, gonna go for the AC. It looks like meanwhile Gyrocopter has the Aegis. Probably will time out in about 4.5 minutes, so I do not think this is yet Rapier time because Puss is again playing out of his mind. But still, that is just going to be in the back of everybody's mind because at this point, 2k HP, it is decently sustainable for a Rapier amount of damage, but I don't think he'll go for it. But if he does go for it, it just makes Puss's life a lot easier or a lot trickier depending on the situation.
RNMM working on the tower here, lands a couple of times here on Kuroki, but I think that should be enough to bring down that tier 2. With that said, look at bot, look at top, the minimap. They're going so much, pushing down, making sure that the Radiant is going to pay for a little bit. KOJ is going to take up the front line, take the tower damage, make sure they get the tier 2, but they got to go back immediately after this tower. Somebody finish it. There you go. Blink Dagger is finished up on Rubik. We talked about this in the picking phase.
That's huge.
That's absolutely huge. Not only is he going to steal RP, he could land it. He could RP them back. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, Gyrocopter is not the best range cooldown, not the best range ultimate. I mean, Jakiro can stand.
He has 1,000
still,
range.
I mean, not the cooldown, and you have to sort of venture up close and personal in order for the flat cannon to actually hit. You have to venture 350 range before the 1,000 splash damage actually hits.
Sure.
And Leicester wants to be up in your face, so this is just prime opportunities for Rubik to just steal an RP and say, "What's up? Game's over."
Well, I'm not sure about that. Again, the Radiant playing very well so far. Just, I mean, against the odds, right? Against the PL Weaver. Speaking of Weaver, got his own Manta style finish. I feel like his Manta style a lot more impressive, considering that those illusions, not that they do a lot of damage, but they're going to be on the back line benefiting from the Desolator. It looks like they're going to use Trixie as a bait, and this is a very, very obvious bait. No way Trixie will be by himself this deep. But you never know. Like, there's so many PL, you gotta just send up one dude or two to defend.
Yep, and Magnus making his way towards that refresher. He's only about 1k away, and once he gets that, that means they can take a couple more team fights, and maybe decide to push in, but again, Kato is the main problem here. And usually, I don't know, when I see Kuroki playing really strong hero, I just expect him to steal something, or get a creep.
Top lane here, Trixie went for the bait, went for the kill. Unfortunately, you were asking, what does Manta debuff? It certainly debuffs Purge play, and the Purge was used, wasn't able to get the kill, and of course Alex, with a slew of AoE spells, was able to cling down Trixie. Trixie getting a little bit beta here, which, I mean, it hurts a little bit, but he's fine.
You know, Gyrocopter not afraid. He has the Aegis up. He is just going to push in the Aegis. We'll time out in about 1.5 to 2 minutes, so he has a little bit more time left. He might even just decide to suicide just to get full mana. Of course, going to clear out all the creeps while he possibly can. But meanwhile, Cupid Light not in position. They're going to give this tier 2 and Sunlight Mouse looking in a pretty decent shape. The Fan Lancer has died a couple times. 3, 3, and 2. Getting close to that Reaver, but still about 1,300 gold away from the heart. Or 1,500 gold rather, and that is a decent amount of time for the push to come in, and QOJ looks like he's just going to suicide, not even going to pop the flat can, just going to say, gonna use Aegis.
Gonna get my free heal, what's up? Oh, he's gonna get lift up in the air, but he has the access into BKB, so he doesn't really care. Looks like tier 3 in big trouble, PL's back in 2 seconds, and the fight should be beginning very soon. The question is, who is Hani gonna roar, and after the roar, what is exactly going to do?
And what is Weaver going to do? Because Keep It Light can just recall him, and Arrow is just pushing down your base, and suddenly TP back by RMN, and just the annoying split push nature. And you can do this with pretty much any Samurai carrier, and this is why Kato is broken.
Yeah, he is really broken. Looks like we have a lovely engagement here coming from QOJ. QOJ, he's very, very fast. The Beastmaster roar faster and longer range. That Ice Path, though, insane. Can you actually kill him down? Yeah! He's gonna... Wow.
If that Weaver shot hit, I think that would have finished him off.
I gotta say, the Balls of Steel TPing from 4 heroes. Just like, whatever.
Oh, he didn't even use BKB. Wow.
No, he didn't. He just, like, flat out TP'd.
Did No-Tail use the lift?
I think so.
I guess so.
The lift does have a very, very long cooldown, and of course, Roar was used on top. So, yeah, very good recognition of TP. But, speaking of pass, look at his gold. Look at his inventory. He's almost got his double RP, and that's, again, we talked about how important his RP is, and the fact that he can't miss. Now there's a get out of jail free card, which very, very needed.
I think at this point, if he spies Rubik, he can just RP him solo, and then just RP him, skewer him into the rest of the team, and then RP his team, or something like that, because I feel like Rubik is still a big issue. But yeah, it does give him some more options, and options on the side of Mouse is definitely going to give them a lot more chance to potentially end this game. MKB's finished up on the Gyrocopter. He still has 8 seconds BKB, which at 4 minutes in the game is definitely, pretty respectable. And he's probably going to make his way towards Butterfly, I imagine, because, Butterfly,
or
no, going to go for a Satanic instead.
Yeah. Helm definitely very welcome. Again, you cannot lifesteal off of illusions, but, you know, just right-click on a thing that you know you can lifesteal off of, and everything else will be taken care of. Satanic plus BKB means basically Gyrocopter has an Aegis all the time, so that's very, very welcome. Of course, RMM does have his Assault Curious finish for quite a while. Maelstrom, I imagine, will be upgraded next. Of course, if he wants to go for a different item, that's all good as well. And Pass, like we talked about, very close to that refresh orb. Let's see how the Dire is doing in terms of item progression. Not too much. A couple of Scepter being picked up here and there. Heart being attempted on Trixie. And that's pretty much it. It just feels like Fnatic's item choices or item progression has been halted for a while now.
Yeah, I think they're starting to realize we're getting penned up in our base because double Magnus is definitely very scary, and now Gyrocopter can hold his own versus the Illusion Army as there comes the Manta Split. Rubik is already forced to blink back, and that is going to force a retreat by Fnatic for a little bit as they wait for the blink down to cool down, and will cool down very rapidly. Mechanism is going to use Jakiro, is going to pop that up as meanwhile Beastmaster going to pop Invisible Rune, but look at the bottom lane. Era does not care. And this is something you can do with the PL on your side and Era, as well as the bomb rack's gonna be cleaned up. That is so annoying for
Era
Mouz,
already just going mid, saying if you gotta commit now, you're committing already down 8 racks. Obviously, we could recall anytime we wish us. Looks like teleportation came back here. No TP just in Mousesport. They're just losing building and they can't actually go in because Trixie, and guess what? Illuminate, defend that base. God, that's annoying.
Yeah, Era, I think he was juked by the TP, but it was cancelled. But now he's back in the base, and the Rax was ultimately brought down. They're going to lose the range Rax eventually. And so, Mouz, they feel like this is their best opportunity to strike. I mean, I guess they want to strike while Gyrocopter still has buyback and is still very strong. But still, they're wasting a lot of time as the range barracks does get picked off. Pos looking for an enemy to initiate as this is so stressful. Pipe is popped. This is their time to go in. Oboons is popped. No Tail gets absolutely melted as he does not. But top barracks are going to get cleaned up. But meanwhile, Era going to use boots to travel and then he's going to get recalled back.
I'm not sure if that was the best communication here of the Dire team, but looks like they need to take a fight right now. QOJ down to about half HP, but they gotta pay it respect to Pass. Pass gets focused, he's gonna skewer back out. He's gotta get that illusion off of him so he could blink back into RP. QOJ is BKB up. Where's the RP come in? Pass, he's being chased around. Finally, he does it in 3, 2. Does he need to jump in? Looks like it doesn't need it. His teammates have taken care of it so far. Oh, Era's on the chase. They got the purge. Pass, does he have the mana? Is he gonna bail his teammate out? He says, nope, my RP more important than your life. I'm out.
The buildings got absolutely demolished, and now the tier 4 is pretty much the only building left on the bottom side of the map for Mouz. Even though they took top barracks, it came at a pretty hefty price as they lost a Gyrocopter in the retreat as well. I did not actually even see that happen.
Well, Gyrocopter, I think he was picked off pretty early in the beginning of the team fight, in the middle of that thing, but here comes the Dire team. I do believe Gyro has buyback. Yes, he does. 4k gold in the bank. And of course, Fnatic would definitely want to bait it out. If that's the case, no, they back off. And it looks like Gyrocopter could hold on to this buyback, but Roshan is going to be attempted. You could sort of beat Fnatic, but I don't think you could beat Fnatic with Aegis and Cheese. Or just Aegis.
It's going to be
it's Aegis and Cheese, yeah.
Kuroki getting an illusion army on his side, enchanting an illusion, and now they're starting to split, so that's going to give them some time to push out. But still, Roshan is going to die very rapidly, especially with the Death Slayer debuff and the attack speed by Beastmaster. It's just going to be crazy how fast this Rush dies. Heart is finished up on the Phantom Lancer. Level 2 Diffusal Blade, Era picks up the Aegis, Trix picks up the Cheese, and now these two characters are essentially immortal. And what are you going to do if you're Mouz? I mean, you've been relying on Pos, but it seems like Fnatic have found the answer, just illusion him to death.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of how that last team fight went on the top lane, like, the Rubik just died instantly. We saw Rage 2 right clicks and he was dead. And it seems like Fnatic was reluctant to fight a team fight without Rubik. With that said, maybe they could go for a single pickoff and then just go 5v4. But I feel like the longer the game goes, the less hesitant the Dire team will be because they have PL, because they have Weaver. These guys are getting very, very farm. Here we go. QOJ is going to be trying to lead the team to pressure on the mid lane. And you can see that they're making sure RM is going to stay back and defend against the split push. But if he's doing that, he's not helping his team.
Yeah, interesting he didn't pick up Boots of Travel. Again, wants to buy back as the courier is staying at the secret shop. Where are they going to go for? It's the finish they take up on the Gyrocopter. That's pretty big, but again, the question is, can he actually hit an actual hero? As these illusions and the Weaver running around is giving them nightmares, but they still have the gem, so that is also very good. As the illusion army kind of dig it out, it looks like Hiroki is going to win this battle. It's pretty awesome.
Man, that RNN, random generated number, RGN.
Isn't PL just a fun hero to deal with, especially with Kato? They're just a fun pairing to fight.
You could only beat PL with PL. Welcome to Dota 2.
To quote Envy, only with enough hatred can you surpass me all.
Trixie walks in right now, uses cheese. He's in big trouble though. HP's dropping down quick. Does he have buyback? Looks like he does. Pass blinks in. Looks like he's going to be lifted in the air. No Tail dies in 2-hit pass. Walking back out alive. Has Ghost Scepter. Is still somehow alive. Era seen. Era. Oh, Era gets picked off. One. Looks like RP comes in. Trixie still alive, but down to about half instantly. Aegis already used. How is Mousesport winning this team fight? They see Era. Era's got to go back. As they say that though, Era sees RMM low. RMM's gonna be dead, but QOJ has picked down the melee racks. Looks like he's gonna try to TP out. Not that time. Era gets an Ultra, but they have lost the racks.
No buyback on the gyrocopter. This is Weaver's Q. Magnus is gonna have to buy back. Jakiro probably gonna have to buy back as well. Leicester definitely has to buy back. They are gonna defend. They should defend the middle barracks.
Well, yeah, triple buyback coming here from Mousesport here. Great TP, but Era says, alright, you want to fight this? I'll fight this. Beastmaster Roar comes out of nowhere from Hani. PS comes in, a skewer is just one. RM in huge trouble. He's almost at Arma targeting for his life because his life does depend on the Kuroki. Look at his HP just dropping so damn quickly. Here comes Era, one more hit, not going to get all open wounds. And Pass is going to be fine. Both teams are just trading knockout punches at each other, and no team will give up.
Yo, Gyrocopter still on the side, and now Trixie decided to enter the base, and meanwhile, Magnus, well, where is his refresher?
Magnus didn't go for refresher, he went for the Ghost Scepter, and of course he has buyback over now, but he really wish he has refresher because, man, look at how quickly these buildings go down. In between, of course, Weaver's AC now, and his Desolator, these buildings' armor is just going to be dropping down so very quickly. Beastmaster comes down here for RMM. RM's going to be dead, and he does not have buyback. Uh-oh, the base is fully breached right now. Kuroki gets lifted. He's dead. It looks like the tier 4 tower number 1 is going to go down. Tier 4 tower number 2 getting a lot of focus. Alex losing HP rapidly as well. He's going to get picked off, and it seems like Fnatic has out attrition Mousesport. What a game! Is it over just yet? QOJ's back. He's huge RP. Is it gonna be enough though? QOJ is right clicking worse than flat cannon. For the love of God, popping BKB. Is popping BKB the flat cannon not gonna be enough here? Era on the background. Era right clicking enough, and looks like QOJ, the last line of defense, has also went down. Alex calls GG. And my God, this is a good game.
Keep it light, too strong.
Oh, PL too strong.
That was keep it light. They couldn't push in.
You know what's too strong? Weaver with Desolator AC is too strong.
That is definitely too strong. Hani first time boots of travel on Beastmaster, too strong. And Magnus not going the refresher. I mean, honestly, I don't know if that would have made the biggest difference, but it would have helped delay.
Man,
still, what a game.
You can't blame him a pause. Like, he put his entire team on his shoulder and lived, right? So, well played, everybody. This was an insane game. Of course, this is TPL number 4. We're not sure whether we're going to catch game 2. We will have to see. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Mouse lose game number 1, and Fnatic takes it. I don't want to say convincingly because the game looked rather close from both sides here. B-Balling, got any last words before we close this one out?
Just a really solid play by both teams. Unfortunately, the lineup just proved to be a bit too difficult for Mouse to overcome in the end, but still really solid by both sides.
Hope you guys enjoyed this one. For B-Balling, I am Luminous. We are signing off. Thanks for watching, and until next time, GG.